Hey, what's up? It's Christopher, aka the Bronze Age Nerd, and today we have a terrible CGC unboxing. This is going to be truly brutal. So I want to share with you guys some lessons that I've learned from this submission. I haven't even opened it yet. Going to open it and unbox with you. I have seen the grades because when you're waiting 7 months for books, or even longer if you include pressing that I did with these ones through a third party before I sent them off to CGC, you just kind of want to see the grades. I wanted to do the whole blind thing, but I just don't have the patience for that. So I already saw the grades and my jaw dropped when I saw them, and not in a good way. So the books in here, there's actually 2 books that are not included in this shipment that were part of the same submission. Since they had custom labels, they got held off and put as part of a different technical submission on CGC's side. Those shipped out today. Today is January 24th. These books I sent off for pressing for the most part. I think just about everything here got sent off for pressing to a third-party presser on April 21st, 2021. I got those books back late June, early July of 2021. And I sent them off to CGC, I think the day after the 4th of July or right around then. And then I just got them back today from UPS on January 24th. So that's the timeline for these books. So yeah, again, I'm waiting on 2 more books, and I do know the grades on those ones. 2 X-Men books getting custom labels. I think those ones did pretty well. Let's dive in here and I'll show you what's going on. So the real problem with this submission is that I screwed up. I got results back from the presser I used that I didn't appreciate. I don't think the presser did the best job they could possibly do. I don't think they paid enough attention to the books, and I screwed up. I didn't say anything about it. That's my fault. If they didn't do the work, or they were swamped or whatever, and I got the results back and I wasn't happy with them, I should have said something. I didn't. It took like 2 months to get the books back. When I sent off the books to him, I sent them off in April. I got them back at the end of June, early July there. That was a long turnaround. I was eager to get these books out and didn't want to wait for any extra turnaround. I think I basically lied to myself. I think I told myself that the results were as good as they were going to get, and I just sent them off to CGC. Yep, I'm stupid. That's lesson number 1 you should learn. Always have a critical eye when it comes to looking at your books. So let's check out what I got. First book here is ASM Annual 14 and a 6.5. This is a direct edition. This is the first appearance of Monica Rambeau, origin and first appearance of the new Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, with Avengers and Thing appearances. So there we go. Second book, although that's kind of interesting. I would have expected the other one to be right next to it. Anyways, this is one of the positive results from the submission. This is the first appearance of Cletus Cassidy, who later becomes Carnage, although they just say Cletus Cassidy, parentheses, Carnage. And it's the first appearance of Cardiac, one of my favorite characters. It's also Rhino and Eddie Brock appearance. This is ASM 344. This did come back in a 9.8 white pages. Happy about that. Obviously, I hope this came back before Carnage Venom 2 came out. But I actually really like Cardiac, the character I really enjoy from the 90s. So, maybe I'm cool with keeping that one in the 9.8. Oh man, these are in kind of totally random order. I expected to be a little bit more in submission order. This one, I'd hoped for a 9.8 on this one. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of hard to complain about a 9.6 on a book like this. Yeah, I can see it right there. Yeah, when I'm talking about the pressing, I don't think I'll be able to make this show up on video. This is Spawn 119. This is the first cameo of the Gunslinger Spawn, and I think She Spawn too. And there is super obvious. I don't think my camera's good enough to pick it up. There's a super, and maybe I'll try to throw in a picture. There's a super obvious spine tick that, just didn't press out. I have heard people say that a press doesn't necessarily last, like it can come out. I don't know how to verify that. I'm not a presser. If you know more about it, tell me about that in the comments. That's an interesting idea, and maybe that has to do with the type of pressing, cold versus hot, that kind of thing. Okay, so here's one of the failures of this submission. So far, you're probably thinking, that's not too bad. This one, I don't think this has anything to do with the presser, really. In fact, I can roll in a picture that he sent me. It was one of the progress pictures that he sent me. This is just me totally whiffing on grading a mid-grade book, which is to me a difficult grade for a book from this era. This is the first appearance of Deathstroke, the Terminator, who's Slade Wilson. It's also the first appearance of Trigon and Cameo. This is the new Teen Titans #2. And yeah, there's just one really good color breaking spine tick on this thing that goes significantly into the book. I'm sure that just wrecked this book. And it's also off white to white pages, which is too bad. Still, I'm happy to have the book. This was kind of like I was expecting that Deathstroke kind of movie to happen. And I thought like maybe this would be like a 6.0 is kind of what I was hoping for. I was way off. My mistake. So this is New Mutants #87, first appearance of Cable. This came back at a 9.0. This is actually a success story. I know I posted like on the, hey buddy, can you spare a grade thread on CGC for this one? A long time ago, I'd planned on submitting this and I kind of waited a couple submissions and I said, you know what, I'm going to send that thing in. And I thought it would be about an 8.85. Some people thought it would be like a 7.5 in that thread before a press. But even then, I mentioned I was thinking about getting it pressed. I think 9.0 might be a little generous on this one. There's definitely some ticks that I can see, but hey, I'm happy with a 9.0. I'm a huge Cyclops fan and a huge Summers family fan. So to get a Cable first appearance, I'm really happy with that too. So that's actually pretty cool. I'm happy with that. All right, what's next? Oh, okay. So this is something that was like disappointing only because getting this in a 9.8 would have totally made up for everything in here. This is a Young Avengers #1. It isn't a 9.6. It's a gorgeous copy, but it just didn't get that 9.8 distinction. I think the corners maybe just were a little unacceptable on this one. I feel like, and this is totally just a subjective thing here. I feel like CGC started getting a little bit harsher on corners on modern books like this within the last year or so. Maybe I'm wrong about that. That's just my kind of anecdotal evidence. Okay, so this is another success story from this. This is the first appearance of Quake. I did not expect this book to come back in a 9.8. I honestly thought it was going to be a 9.6. So getting this back in a 9.8, that's very tough with that black cover. This actually might be one of the success stories from this particular submission. And I'm happy to have that one in a 9.8. If we ever get Quake back in the MCU, that'll be a good book to have. Okay, so here's one that I thought was going to do a little bit better than it did. This again could be my mid-grade grading skills not being as good as I'd hoped. I thought this was going to be a 7.0. This is the kind of debatable depending on how you go. A lot of people say it's the first appearance of Obi-Wan Kenobi, but it's Star Wars #2 from the original Marvel run. I got this back in a 6.0. Again, I'd hope for a 7.0. So to me, this is kind of one of the failures from this. At a 6.0, probably wouldn't have graded it. But I do have a Star Wars 1 that I'm going to submit at some point. So having a Star Wars 1 and 2 will be kind of cool, kind of regardless of grade. Here's the real failure of this. Here's what you never want to see coming back on your submission. The color purple. This is a purple 9.6. I thought this was a really high grade. I thought this was a 9.6, 9.8. Sure enough, it got a 9.6. This is Wolverine versus Sabretooth. This got dinged for small amount of color touch on cover. I honestly didn't notice it. Looking back at my photos I took beforehand, I think I do notice it as just a kind of slight discoloration. I really doubt that's going to show up on camera. But also looking at it, like I'm surprised I thought it was gonna be a 9.6 because it really is. I mean a 9.8 because I really think it is more in the 9.6 territory. So I think that's a fair grade. But boy, on a book this modern, getting a restored label, kind of ruins it. Yeah. Well, by the way, part of this is that I wanted a kind of a trilogy. I wanted 211, 212, and 213. I wanted them all in 9.8, so I submitted copies that I thought I had the best shot at a 9.8. I think I got one back in a 9.8, two back in a 9.6 now, and then obviously is restored. So that's not good. Here's another one that I just kind of hoped for that 9.8. I thought I was gonna maybe swing into the 9.8 category, and I ended up getting a 9.6. First appearance of King Shark. Obviously, I hope this one to come back a little bit sooner for that Suicide Squad goodness, but King Shark's still proving to be a fairly popular character. And spoilers for Suicide Squad 2, he made it. So did he make it? I think he made it. Yeah, I think he made it. Shit, now I don't remember. I think I had 9/8 goggles when I did this submission. I think that's the real lesson to be learned here. This is Star Wars Kanan, The Last Padawan, number 6. Interesting, CGC still doesn't denote this as being any kind of a key. Most people accept this as the widely accepted first full appearance of Ezra and Sabine, Sabine's definitely coming back to the Star Wars shows, and then Ezra is heavily rumored. I hoped for kind of a 9.4, 9.6 out of this after Clean and Press. Still think I see a couple examples here where, you know, and maybe I'll post some detailed photos. I don't think it got pressed, or at least it didn't get pressed very well. May not have helped the overall grade, but it definitely would have helped the overall appearance. All right, here's one that I'd hoped was a 9.92. It came back as an 8.5. This is that's so funny how they word this now. This is X-Men Annual 14 and an 8.5. I have a 9.6 of this in the older style CGC slab. I thought, you know, on its best day, I thought maybe 9.4. This is one that I see spine roll on here that I think, at least I think I see that. Yeah, I think I see that. That I'm pretty sure press should have helped with. But it is a square bound book that can be tricky, to be fair. It's interesting how CGC notes this. They say Fantastic Four and Ahab appearance, Gambit cameo, predates Uncanny X-Men 266. It is kind of interesting. Yeah, it's also pinups by Kevin Nolan and Michael Golden, who I had the pleasure of meeting one time, by the way. Very nice guy. But yeah, got that in an 8.5. So hey, first full appearance of Gambit right there in an 8.5. I know I just triggered some people, but that's how I feel. Okay, this was, I was hoping this would be next to the other one. It'd be kind of cool to reveal them back to back. This is another ASM annual, also in a 6.5. And it's funny because I thought this one was on like a grade higher. This one is a newsstand though. So also in a 6.5. Hopefully people care about Monica Rambeau. The plan I had was to hold one of these and to sell one of these. This one was off white pages too. I think the other one was white pages, I want to say. Okay, the next 3 books are all the same book. These are 3 copies of X-Men 4 that I picked up at an LCS that had copies of it. They were all in high grade. I didn't really think they were necessarily going to come back 9.8s. I can see this one definitely isn't a 9.8. I think 9.6 is a fair grade for that. First Omega Red. Got a pair of 9.4s, one of which is a direct, and the other one is a newsstand. This newsstand was submitted in a 9.6 pre-screen I did. So turns out they were pretty consistent in saying that it wasn't a 9.6 on this one, because I'd kind of hoped that maybe this one would get 9.6 if I just sent it in to get graded just by itself in a submission. Looks like they were consistent on that one, which is kind of interesting to see. Okay, so like I said, there's definitely a lot of mistakes that I made here. I'm taking full responsibility for that. And you know why I'm sharing it with you? I easily could just not have made this video. I'm sharing it with you because, for one thing, I think people are kind of interested in following along with CGC submissions and how they turn out. So hopefully there's some lessons to be learned here. For me, the big takeaways are always be critical of your books. I got a little cocky, I think, because I had some really good luck on pre-screen submissions and also other submissions I did, getting really good grades that were accurate to what I expected. So maybe I got a little cocky. I got a little impatient because these books took a long time to come back, and I was hearing about long turnaround times, so I kind of just wanted to get them off to CGC to hopefully get them back before some of these projects came out. Turned out that didn't even happen, so I probably just should have waited on the submission. Anyway, another lesson I learned. If you're dealing with a presser and you're not happy with the results, say something. I don't know why I didn't. I just didn't do it. I should have. I didn't. You know, if they did the work and they feel like it was up to snuff, they sent it out to me and I didn't feel like it was up to snuff, I should have responded to that person. Now, after submitting them and getting them to CGC and getting them back from CGC, it's not the time to do that with that person. I have moved on to another presser, and I want to talk about that a little bit. Partially based on the results I got back from this, there were a couple books that I sent off as part of the submission that I didn't even send in because I wasn't happy with the results. They clearly weren't up to snuff. So what I did after this and a bad experience I had through another presser, there was this kind of development that happened with somebody who you've heard me mention on the channel a couple times, and that's Turlock Comics. And now Turlock Comics is my cleaner and presser of choice. They're who I use to get the work done. And I do have a discount code. This video is not sponsored by them. I'm not getting anything from them for making this video, but I want to share my experience with them and kind of relay that to you. You will see a couple videos coming up where I am going to talk about my first submissions with them, through them, that have come back to me. And I think you're going to be really excited about the results. Unlike this unboxing, we still are waiting on a couple books. I actually have some of those books back. I'm already really excited about the results. But if you want to save some money on cleaning and pressing, and you want some people that will do a fantastic job and they take their work very seriously, I can't help but recommend Turlock Comics. If you use the code Bronze Nuts, that's nuts with a Z, and send that over to Hulk Nuts, who is Turlock Comics over on Instagram, you can get any comic book, golden, silver, doesn't matter, cleaned and pressed by them for $15. If you submit 10 comic books, you will get those comic books clean and pressed for $12. Now, keep in mind, that doesn't include shipping, so keep that in mind. That's going to be an extra cost on top of that. And if you want them to do CGC submissions or CBCS submissions for you, or any of the grading services for that matter, keep in mind there will be a long turnaround time. That's nothing to do with them at the moment. They work pretty quickly to get books turned around and out. They're very transparent every step of the way, but those turnaround times at those companies are just insane right now. Keep in mind, these comic books I submitted back in early July to CGC, and I got them back 7 months later, basically. So yeah, definitely going to take a long time and something you need to be aware of. Okay, I know I'm going to get roasted a little bit in the comments down below for some of the choices I made leading up to this, but again, I'm doing this for educational purposes. I'm trying to share this for you guys so you can learn from my mistakes. If you would like to share a little bit about your CGC submission woes and all that kind of stuff, please let me know in the comments down below. I do appreciate it. Luckily, a lot of these grades actually aren't that bad. I think I'll make my money back on the submission. Most of my submissions are about half for personal collection, half for investment, resale, that kind of a thing. And I kind of use one half to pay for the other. That's the idea anyway. There's a couple books in here I'll be able to sell, especially if I hold on to them until the time is right and make the money back from the submission. So I'm not too worried about that part of it. It could have been a lot worse. Just a big oof on that that first Deathstroke, and a big oof on that Star Wars 2, and the hugest oof of all time on that X-Men 212. And not knowing about the color touch on it and getting a purple label really kind of saddens me. So anyways, thanks for following along this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you got a couple good laughs in at my expense, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, I want to remind you, as always, hey. Read comics every day.